seekers, welcome to Straight Shooters. This is a show where we give our honest opinion and analysis and recommendations regarding various forms of entertainment. My name is Todd Braley.
And I'm Itai Guberman.
And both of us are indie filmmakers and lovers of many different forms of arts and entertainment. We're going to be doing some analysis today on the 2022 version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, but before we do that, we're gonna talk a little bit about ourselves. So, Itai, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Sure. As Todd you just mentioned, yeah, we're both indie filmmakers. I am the CEO, founder of my indie productions. Basically been making films since about, 2004-ish. So yeah, just really sort of battling it out in the indie landscape. And yeah, just recently, Todd and I decided to start sort of collaborating on some projects and stuff like that. And one of them is this here show. So yeah, we thought, why not let people know what we think about all these things that we love to talk about so much? Every time we have a sort of a business meeting, tends to go, instead of half an hour, tends to go to over 2 hours, since we end up just chatting about film. So we thought, why not do it on camera?
Yeah, maybe get paid for it. Who knows? So
that would be nice.
That would be nice. That would be nice. So anybody out there's got a business, we'll be more than happy to do some advertisements for you. So contact us at the email listed below. So you'll periodically see the My Indie website show up, and then our email will pop up every so often, and then for sure we'll be putting it at the end of the show. So also we're looking for suggestions too out there. So if you guys out there want to suggest movies that you want us to talk about, or music that you want us to react to that maybe we haven't heard before, we'll be more than happy to do that. So and my name is Todd Braley.
Let's call those requests. We'll take
requests. Yeah, that doesn't happen often, right? But my name is Todd Braley. I'm also an indie filmmaker. I've been making movies since I was 8 years old. I kind of feel like I've been making movies professionally, or at least professionally in my mind, since about 2010. I've got a lot of movies under my belt. I've shot many music videos and cooking shows and Land Cruiser resurrection, type videos, and I do a little bit of everything. So
music
videos, yes. One of my biggest claim to fame right now is I did the last Great White video from their album Full Circle, and I actually did all the artwork for the Full Circle album. So yeah, that was kind of cool to be a part of rock history, so the name of and if you want to look the video up, it's called Big Time. So and yes, it is the Great White, the once bitten twice shy Great White. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing. That's what I do. And so today we are, for our first episode, we're probably late to the game, I'm thinking, just because I know a lot of other people have already talked about it. But let's talk about the shit show that is Texas Chainsaw 2022. I know Itai he always looks for the good in things. I make the attempt. I'll let him go first and let him talk a little bit about what he thought of the film, and then I'll get my turn.
Let's just also let people know that we're probably going to hit some sort of spoiler territory.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
I try to avoid those, but if the conversation sort of goes that way, I'll go with it. Yeah, what did I think about Texas Chainsaw? I sort of have to assume that our viewers have seen it. It's been around for a little while now. It's freely available on Netflix. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I kind of watched it as soon as it came out because I figured, we will probably be doing a show about it. So I've only watched it once, as soon as it was released. So certain areas of it are not as fresh in my mind, but my overall impression of it is, let's just say, in short, I didn't love it. This film has sort of lots of issues.
Why didn't you love it?
I'm a film purist, so for me, story is king. I'm all about the script. It has to be smart and interesting, to keep me in it. Excuse me. So there were many issues with the script in this one, and I think something that you and I think about similarly about this film is it's a direct sequel of the original 1974 film.
Supposed to be.
That's sort of a pet hate, I think, for both of us, that they did this with Halloween as well, where they just ask you to disregard however many sequels in between. And with these two franchises, it's a considerable number of films. And I have liked a few of the sort of reboots that they've done for this one, where it gave it a bit of a sort of a more modern take. But this one, to me, was a million steps backwards. Because again, it has nothing of the spirit of the original, and it just is made for today's audience. And if that was the case, they should have just made a different film. They shouldn't try to ride the Texas Chainsaw Massacre name, the franchise name, just to get viewers. If they're making it for today's audience, just make something different. Texas Chainsaw, the original, was not made for this kind of audience.
No, and that was one of the things that I because I've seen all of the Texas Chainsaw movies, and obviously you love the first one, and then the second one was really super campy, but I know Toby Hooper was purposely going that route.
Love Toby Hooper. I hated the second.
Yeah. And you know what? I kind of liked terrible. I kind of liked it. I had fun with it, but I also, I don't know when you saw it, but I saw it, when it came out. So, I saw it in the theater.
When did it come out?
I think it was the
it was also 70s, 80s. Yeah? A couple of years after the original.
It was 10 years after the originals, I believe.
Oh, wow.
I'll make sure and put that on the screen exactly what year, just because I don't know. Let me see. Why don't we just do this? Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up myself.
Oh, I did it on the wrong. I've got two keyboards in front of me, so I'm typing.
You actually have three. I know. I've seen them.
Yeah. Let me see. Texas.
It was 86.
86. Yeah. So it was quite a long time.
12 years after.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
So
but to me that it has a similar issue where it kind of lost the the spirit of the original. The original is fairly serious, very tense, and scary, and this one was like almost like a zany horror comedy.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like it. I thought that, because it was so campy, to me that looked like, bad acting and terrible script. And I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Well,
I have to say I did like a few of the others after that, though.
I like the Michael Bay reboot. The Michael Bay reboot with Jessica Biel in it. That I watched that again the other night, and that one is truly, that has the flavor of what the original had, just truly terrifying. But it also gave the gorehounds what they wanted too. So it wasn't just gory, you know, and then when they did the little prequel to that reboot, I even like that. That wasn't horrible. Obviously it's kind of one of those things. It's like, oh, we did this. Now we're going to do a sequel. Well, we can't do a sequel, so we'll do a prequel because we killed him in the reboot. And it was good. It was all good. The acting was on point. Arlie Ermy, how can you get any cooler than that? I mean, to be able to, it's almost like you had Full Metal Jacket in a fucking horror movie.
In Texas Chainsaw,
yeah. So, but yeah, this new one, I watched it the same night that you did when it came out, and I avoided hearing anything online because it had been out for the whole day at that point, and I had seen a lot of the horror groups posting about it. And so I just stayed away from that. And I was by myself that night. It was kind of cool. So I got the big surround sound system and I turned it up and got my pizza and my hot wings and everything. And I was sitting there watching it. And it was, there was nothing, there was no character development on any level. I mean, even the original one, we got to know who everybody was, you know, and in order for you to, when people start dying, you have to give a shit. And that was just one of my things. It was like, it started and they started killing people. I mean, first of all, now we're 1974, 2022. How old is Leatherface now? He was probably between 25 and 28 in the first one. In the original,
say at least 70 years old. Yeah.
So he's between 70 and 80 years old, but he's moving around like he's still 20. The dude wouldn't be able to fucking keep up with these young people.
It's the Michael Myers effect.
Lift that chainsaw over his head. So yeah. And then we just didn't get to know who anybody was. And then all of a sudden we've got this mechanic who is in this space. How could you live there for that long and not know that this dude existed? I mean, I don't know. Do we call those plot holes or do we just call those, it's just really, really, really shitty writing, you know?
I would say that's not exactly a plot hole, but it is shitty writing. Yeah. Because she would have had to sort of keep him in the basement, whereas we see that he sits and looks out windows and stuff. Somebody would have seen him.
Yeah.
At least there would have been some kind of talk about it, around town. But that mechanic guy, he was actually kind of an interesting character. I thought it was going to, develop a bit more and whatever. And then it's like, no. It's funny that you mentioned the chainsaw because it just reminded me, he actually breaks a wall in the house and gets the chainsaw out of that wall, and the chainsaw works.
Yeah.
After being in a wall for 50 years, it still had, whatever gas in it, petrol, whatever, and it just worked after 50 years.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Yeah. You needed that in the story?
Yeah.
Why was this needed? There's so many things like that in this film, though. It also felt with the characters as though they went through a checklist.
Yeah, exactly.
We need this ethnicity. We need, this sexual preference. We need someone who survived a school shooting.
Yeah.
Like that's some kind of a mind-blowing thing. It just everything felt like it was squeezed in there.
Well, and not
Nothing
just
felt
that, but when you
natural.
start adding all that stuff into it, it's the checklists are ridiculous anyway. Which is a when people started talking about what the Oscars were going to be this year, I stopped watching that garbage a long time ago. But
yeah, I don't watch the Oscars
now you
anymore,
have to
not
have
for
a
a while.
checklist to make a movie. Are you kidding me? If checklists are for going to the fucking store, to make sure that you get your lettuce and your tomato and your all this stuff, not to make movies. The checklist in your movies should be making sure you got your camera, you got your sound, you got your tripod, you got your camera dolly, you got your actors, you got a script. That should be the checklist, not the ethnicity of your characters and whatnot. That was just really, I caught that.
Yeah, these things they don't help the film. They just help you market it. And when it feels like a marketing ploy, it just doesn't feel like a good film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of characters, bringing back Sally Hardesty from the original and just wasting that character.
My God.
You didn't like it. We were talking about it. You didn't like it because it's not the original actress who has died a long time ago. But I didn't actually mind the recasting because obviously, she's aged however much since the original. But they really did make her into a Laurie Strode carbon copy that
literally
didn't even do anything. Yeah,
it's then
they just wasted her.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's Xerox what Blumhouse did and put the Texas Chainsaw name on it, and then and it wasn't even like she was there. I mean, we didn't even see her until until more than halfway into the movie. She exists, she shows up, and then she says, "I've been waiting for you. I've been looking for you for 50 years."
And then she can't shoot him. She had him and she couldn't do it.
Yeah. Standing right in front of her. Yeah, go ahead.
At that point, again, I just kept thinking, who wrote this shit? I mean, even though we know who wrote it, I hate coming out and saying negative things about other filmmakers and other writers and all the rest of it, but this was not good, and it could have easily been fixed, because all of these scenes that are just horrible, just you didn't need to make those decisions. All you had to do was make a decision that makes sense.
And they're making movies for Netflix. Netflix doesn't hover over the top of you telling you what to do. It's not like a studio. Netflix gives you your money. Netflix, give me some fucking money. Give Itai some money. We got some good movies. Yeah. But they don't hover. They don't.
I don't think they originally intended to make it for Netflix. I think they originally thought they were going to get a cinematic release. And as you said, they were trying to do a carbon copy of Halloween, pretty much, of the way Blumhouse did that. And they just didn't even get there. And that says something.
Yeah.
There are some cool aspects to this film. It's not all bad, but
this
the
is
overall,
probably, to me, this is the coolest. This is the coolest thing about that movie. To me, was that shot.
It's a great shot. Yeah, and I did like the sort of the sunflower field sort of contrast. That was really, a nice image. Mm-hmm. When the film starts, actually, and they're in that. Was it a petrol station, like a gas station, or was it?
Yeah, the gas station.
But the TV's playing in the background, and you get a little bit about the original. And I thought, it's a cliche kind of trope, used in horror films and thrillers. But I didn't mind it there. I thought, okay, that's a nice way to connect to the original, and let's see how these characters are going to go. They look interesting, and then they started talking, and then you go, first of all, nobody talks like that. And second, there was no one likable there.
Nobody. You couldn't wait for these fucking people to die. I was
the only one I liked was the mechanic, and he's supposed to be like some kind of a backward kind of hillbilly type, potentially racist. We're not sure yet, and then he's also just a sort of a wasted character, just gets thrown away. They did give him kind of like a cool ending, but still.
Well,
the kills, will keep horror fans very happy.
Yes. Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, and we were talking about
film,
this. It was shot well. I mean, I'll give the cinematographer props on
absolutely.
that. Lighting was cool. Camera angles were amazing. It's kind of funny because getting ready, prepping for this show, I hadn't finished watching the movie. I shut it off like 40 minutes into it. And cause I was just like gag. I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand it. So I just decided, I was like, well, so we're going to start doing, getting the show put together. And Itai says, well, you need to watch the rest of that movie. I'm like, why? Can't I just read about it? Do I have to subject myself to that? So in preparation. Yes, Dad. So I watched the rest of it today while I was setting everything up, and it just didn't get any better. Watching those kids on the bus get hacked up after the first couple, it just seemed to drag. It was like, yeah, all right, we got that one. And at that point you felt Leatherface's age, but that was it. I mean, we were discussing, first one came out in 1974. He's 2025. Now it's 2022. He's between 70 and 80 years old. Would you be able to get that thing up there? And I don't know. Margaret, I need some Bengay. It was just, oh my God, it was so that, but when he was hacking the kids up in the bus, I was okay with that. But then even that got drawn out, and it was like, oh, God, just kill them already. Will you just get rid of them?
And again, that bus had ample time to get away. Originally,
the dude
and some of the characters just forgot to tell them.
The bus. The driver got off the bus because he heard something. That's the same thing in Scream that you're not supposed to do.
It's not even just that. It's like some of them already knew about what was happening, but didn't tell the people on the bus. And it's like, why? Tell them they can get away,
Yeah. Yep.
Just a lot of decisions that were made by characters were just downright stupid. And again, when your characters are stupid, it might be, again, fun for horror fans watching a film, fun to have a laugh and throw some popcorn at the screen, but it is not a good film. And most of that is on the writers and the people behind it. I don't have to say the director, because in this case, the director may have been just stuck with the script.
We also don't know what they cut out of it. There's
true, and it was Fede Alvarez. He's the one involved with this one. He's the one who made what I consider to be one of the best remakes, reboots in horror, maybe altogether, which was the Evil Dead reboot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that one. Didn't want to see that.
It is borderline excellent. I'm a well-known what some people might describe as a hater. I just say, honest, I hate Evil Dead. The first, the second, the third.
Original? Wow.
The originals. I think they are some of the worst films ever made, especially the second, because They had a budget for that one. So the first one, I can understand a lot of the decisions made there, and it's indie and all the rest of it. So a lot of it can be forgiven. I still didn't like it because it didn't connect with me. The comedy part I thought was just unnecessary. It just should have been a straight horror film. It just didn't work for me. That's all.
The second one I don't like at all.
It was almost an exact remake of the first, while changing a few details.
Exactly.
It had a budget, and it wasn't as good as the first.
No.
The third, which was Army of Darkness was just something else completely. Just a different film. It was like, I don't know, a horror Back to the Future or something.
Right. Right.
And I didn't like it. It just didn't work for me. And,
I own the director's cut because I saw the original in the theater, and then I saw the director's cut, and the director's cut is it's kind of a different movie. So it did fill in a lot of the plot holes, but it still had that goofy edge to it, which I wasn't a fan of when they did the second one. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah, I think you need to see the reboot because I thought he did an excellent job there, taking it where it should have been taken in the first place.
Gotcha.
It was just a dark, gory as fuck horror film,
Right.
And I'm not necessarily a huge fan of gore, but in that one, it kind of worked. I really liked it. So he's responsible for the story of this one.
So he's responsible for the story of this one. After he killed Evil Dead remake, they do Texas Chainsaw remake.
I think he saved Evil Dead, and then he came up with the story for this one and
choked.
But you know what? When I think about it, the story is actually okay. It would have worked in the hands of a good scriptwriter. If the characters are fleshed out and written differently, the decisions and all of that, because the overall story is fine. I thought some of it was kind of interesting, but it's the details that are a problem.
Yeah. Well, and I just think that character development, I don't care who you are, even in some of the crappiest, or what some people would consider crappy indie horror movies, if there's character development, I can look past bad shots and even some bad acting.
Give me a character to root for.
Yeah, give me somebody to care about, I mean, I can't even count how many movies that I've watched where you just don't. Well, here's a good example. It was a really good movie. It was a really well acted movie. It's not a horror movie, but I watched House of Gucci. And there was nobody in there that you gave a shit about because they were all horrible human beings. So this and so with this Texas Chainsaw, it was just you didn't care, when homegirl, when Melody got her fucking head taken off at the end of the movie, I was like, oh, thank God that we never have to fucking see her again, unless they do, Netflix is Texas Chainsaw 2, Melody's head comes back.
Well, people who face a killer that is very, very difficult to kill because he keeps coming back. If they, think they killed him one more time and then they just drop their weapons and walk away slowly and take their time, and then he catches up with them and kills them, I say, you had it coming.
You had it coming.
Yeah. And at the same time, I just think, well, that's a dumbass way to write a script.
Yeah.
Because again, a character sort of comes good. She sort of either grows a sort of a set of balls or something, comes out and takes out this massive dude. and she sort of survives to talk about it, and then she drops whatever weapon she has and walks away slowly and waits for him to catch up, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah, it's the whole horror movie damsel in distress falling down thing. Literally, it's the same thing. You're explaining the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
any
all
movie
of
that
the Friday
insults,
the 13th.
Yeah, any movie that insults your intelligence, it's very difficult to go with. It's just like, how stupid do you think I am? But again, horror fans will find a lot to like, and they have, from what I've seen online, because Cool Kills, familiar franchise, potential for more. It's more than enough for them, which is fair enough. You like what you like.
Yeah.
For me, looking at it as a film, it was not good, and because of that, it wasn't entertaining for me, because I want to be entertained by a good film.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, a lot of people went, oh, what do you expect? It's Texas Chainsaw. It's not a film for the Oscars. I'm like, but I still expect a good film. Yeah. I still expect a good film.
Somebody gave them money to make that movie. Somebody gave them, and probably $10 million at least. I mean, I don't even know what I hated it so much I didn't even bother looking it up.
I did. I just can't remember now. But I'll
you did look it up?
I think so. I don't know if the information was available or not. Because again, Netflix. Netflix films tend to not make that, some of that info available.
Well, and I think a lot of the times too, because they're not going to be in theaters.
Yeah. And Netflix don't tend to reveal the numbers as far as views and stuff on the platform. Right.
Well, and not every. No.
Budget.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm not bringing nobody.
Oh, yeah, 20 million estimated.
Jesus Christ. $20 million, and that's what we got.
Mm-hmm. And again,
how many movies I could make with $20 million?
If you have a budget of 20 million, you can't give 100,000 to a good writer.
Exactly.
Or even a team of writers.
Exactly. You got to wonder where all that money went.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to badmouth the writers of this, because I don't know how much of their actual script was used. It's very difficult to tell what producers do or what they ask for, because you have writers for hire. They get told what to write and how to write it, and that's the problem. And then their name appears on this film as writers. They may have made all of those decisions. I don't know, but it was not a good script by any means.
Well, and you gotta wonder too, after, because we both know that when you write a script and it goes out and somebody hands you a script, that's how come I don't like to do other people's work necessarily. I like to write my own scripts, because then I know exactly what I'm getting. If I want to change something in it, I know exactly how I can change it without fucking up the storyline or creating a plot hole.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of not addressing anyone here by name as far as the director or writers. I just say it's a bad script, because it is. It's but again,
that's the bottom line.
and it's not so different from most films that come out today.
Yeah. It's just
leave your brain at the door.
God.
And expect it to not make any sense, and expect your characters to be shit. You brought up House of Gucci. Like, I haven't seen it, but in a drama, when you have despicable characters, that can work, because you can still get behind a despicable character and like them.
You can.
I don't know about that one. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but in horror, you can't. You have to like the character for whatever reason. To get behind them.
It's especially
and not want them to be punished.
Exactly. So, it's, and there's some movies, when you saw let's say let's go with Friday the 13th Part 4.
Oh God, which one is that again?
That was the one that had Corey Feldman in it as a kid.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be the final chapter. 10 movies later. And so anyway, they 10 movies and lawsuits later. So there was one character in there that was really fucking annoying, and I wasn't sad when he got killed, but there's always got to be like the one guy, you know. It's Nightmare on Elm Street. You think about the one guy, the original Elm Street. You know, you had God, I can't believe I can't remember his name. The dude in the leather jacket. You know, he was kind of an asshole. Yeah, I didn't do it. And then they hang him Freddy kills him in the jail cell. There's always those one characters that are just not, you're okay with them going. But it's just like you said, you got to have somebody to root for God's sakes, man. Give us.
And there's a lot of films where you root for an anti-hero or just any type of despicable character, but because they're interesting and they're entertaining, and you just did not have that here. You know, they were all supposed to be kind of good, kind of not. You know, you were supposed to root against them because they are, what are they, Gen Y or millennials or whatever they are, right? And it's like, that's not enough to put that label on characters and say, I just want them to be killed by Leatherface. It's just, it's not enough. Right. You know, you need something more. But something about them was just so flat, you know. There's no depth, which is why, again, I like the mechanic character. He, seemed to be going somewhere. And he develops this friendship with the girl who survived the school shooting. And I thought, okay, they might make something interesting here. And then it just all fizzled out, went away like it wasn't there in the first place. So what's the fucking point? You know, why have it there?
It's like the original Scream. Rose McGowan's character dies and she is never mentioned again. And she's Dewey's sister.
Yes, you don't need to. You don't need to.
She was.
So it's not important.
Yeah. Oh no, we're just gonna ignore that part. Yeah. Come on, Wes. I miss Wes Craven.
Again, I have to say, not a massive fan. I have some respect for Wes Craven because I do like some of the films, but overall, I think a lot of them are overrated, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, we'll have to have that conversation another time. So
absolutely, I fully understand that. But to me, I need depth. I need something to be dark, like, you know, not just because you dim the lights.
Right,
it needs to be more than that.
Right, right.
And this one for me, you know, if I had to give it an out of 10. And I, as I was saying before we started recording, my recommendation with Texas Chainsaw 2022 is thumbs down. Go watch it. Yeah. There's no. I will never say don't watch it. I think that people need to watch and decide for themselves.
Exactly.
But, you know, from where I'm coming from, I'd say it's about a 4 out of 10. You know, taking into account the horror fan factor, and if it's a horror fan watching, I might bump it up to 5. But it's not a good movie. It's just a letdown. And with that kind of budget, with everything they had at their disposal, they should have known better and they should have done better.
Yeah.
And I think that films these days, you know, should be accountable. If this was an indie film that was made for, I don't know, 2 million, even at 2 million, it should be better than this. Right. But say it was around then or around there, around $1 or $2 million, I would say, all right, you know, it's what they had to work with. Even they couldn't pay good writers, whatever it is.
Yeah, but they had $20 million to Itai.
Yeah,
$20
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
$20 million.
And they should be accountable, because if you have that, you should make something good.
Yep.
And it's also, my advice to indie filmmakers all the time. I keep saying, don't worry about what camera you shoot with. Don't worry about who you're going to have acting in this film. Don't worry about your locations. Don't worry about any of that before you get a good script together. People get some kind of a first draft of something and they run away to shoot it and think, oh, I have this person in the film, I have to shoot it now. I have my Alexa, my who cares what camera? Shoot it. I don't care if you shot it with your phone. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's
Which
bad.
you can do now.
But again, shooting it with a fantastic camera is the same as trying to polish a turd, because you can't. It's still going to be a stinker. I don't care how crisp it looks. And if it's a turd, I don't want to see it better.
Yeah. Look, ladies and gentlemen, look at the beautiful turd that I've created. Look at how fancy it is. Look at the...
Oh, is that a piece of
color? Oh, it's not. It's my beautiful movie that has zero substance. Polished turd.
The thing about that is, again, they spent $20 million trying to polish a turd, and you can't. And the
you ever
reason,
wonder what the editors are thinking? I do. I always wonder that.
Look, to tell you the truth, they didn't do a bad job. The editing is good. The production value is good.
Yep.
And like you said, the cinematography is good. The acting is okay. I didn't see many so terrible performances in it. No.
Right.
They were okay.
Right.
And still, after all of this, having the most expensive equipment and all the rest of it, it's still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the script.
Bad script.
You can't really, So, if it's rotten at the core, they're not going to make it any better. And the thing is, I think that's why you and I are both so kind of passionate about this one, is because it could have been better.
And it literally could have been. Okay, this is the part now where we figure out where we could have where it could have been fixed, literally, and it wouldn't have had been. All they would have had to tack on was maybe another 10 minutes. It wouldn't have had to be very much to just...
You barely got through the 83 minutes. You want another 10?
Yeah. No. Well, but what I'm saying is to fix what's broken. Yes, the script was bad, but there's so many things that they could have fixed within that to make it more watchable. Yeah. Well, and the dialogue was just a joke.
Let's say one of the best scenes in the film in that regard, as far as giving us a little bit of depth to characters, was the scene in the car when they're driving towards town.
Right.
Where they basically tell you that one of them is a survivor of a school shooting and that she has, I don't know, let's call it some worries about life in general and what is happening at that time, where they're going and all the rest of it, and being stopped by the sheriff, and just some of those scenes, the scene at the gas pumps, where they first meet the mechanic guy. I thought that was stupid. I thought that was unnecessary. Yeah. I was like, why are you showing me this? Like, I get it, you're trying to make him into kind of a potentially negative character, whereas later you're going to kind of redeem him, but when they redeemed him, it was such a waste. Yeah,
you killed him.
Yeah, well, and the way it was done and all of that.
Yeah, that was just.
But the scene with Sally when she points the gun at Leatherface and she can't shoot him. That was not really explained as to why she couldn't do it. She's been waiting for this moment for so long to get her revenge.
Years.
Yeah, she has it right there, and she kind of chokes. And it's like, why? she would have blown his head off in a second. What I would have done there is I would have introduced another character that was in the house with him and his mother, who saves him,
Yeah.
jumps her and she
that would have
misses,
been-
or that would have made more sense at least.
Yeah, exactly.
And it sort of kills the Sally character for you, because you think, oh my God, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what you think. That's, like I said, we call this show, we call this show Straight Shooter. So we got to say it like it is.
Yeah,
and,
we got to say it like it is. Yep.
And that's what would have gone through most people's, brains at the time that happens. It's like, you dumb fucking bitch. Why wouldn't you shoot him?
Yep.
It makes no sense. And I'm thinking, okay, crappy writers. And I felt sorry for the actress because I liked her. She's intense. There's something cool about that character, whether we like it or not, Right. I understand that it's because of the Laurie Strode similarities. Still a cool character, and you think, all right, a strong female character.
Well, and they kept Laurie Strode alive.
Yeah, but then
kill her. They didn't.
And even
kill
when
her.
when Sally does get killed, she becomes some weird caricature of this sort of hillbilly hunter character.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, what the hell was that? And it's just, So let's just say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, not my cup of tea.
No, not at all. Now, you were generous and gave it a 4, maybe a 5. I can't even give it that. I mean, I'm barely going to give it a 1.
Well, I have to give it a 4 for the things that we talked about. There's good cinematography, the acting is decent.
Okay, all right, I'll give it a 2.
Production,
I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2.
There you go.
But outside of that, that's all you get. 2. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen with a twirly head like they do on JoeBlow.com.
and wait for it. The way they ended it, there's a sequel coming, and it's going to be worse.
I really hope they don't do anything else. In all honesty, that movie, if that doesn't kill the franchise, nothing will. Nothing will
kill the franchise. The franchise will keep going.
I mean, 20 if you go back to like Texas Chainsaw The Next Generation, or it was Texas Chainsaw 4, which starred Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. Have you seen that? Now, at that point, you thought, because when I saw it, we didn't know who Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger were yet.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, okay, this needs to stop. They really need to just stop.
It goes to show that good actors are not necessarily born that way.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you know what? Going back and watching it again, not too long ago, they're the reason that movie is that you can sit through it. They're those Zellweger and McConaughey are the 2 reasons you can sit through it.
I'm keeping quiet on that one because I don't remember it as well. I've only seen it once, and it was
you know what? You might.
Ago.
I'll tell you what. I will watch the remake of Evil Dead if you go and watch Texas Chainsaw 4 or Texas Chainsaw The Next Generation.
I think we should probably do a show on the franchise. We'll watch all of them.
Tell us. Comment if you want to see us do something on the entire franchise, because I have almost all of them. So
I'll have to find them.
I skipped over. Well, they're all on Netflix right now.
Not all of them. Most of them.
Most of them
I
are.
think.
Well,
last time I checked, anyway. But I only have the original in my collection. I don't even have the later ones that I did like. The Jessica Biel one, as you say. That was.
I do have that one.
I really enjoyed it.
I do have that one.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that again. The big problem with it also is that they kind of cornered themselves a little bit with this one, because they went 50 years after the original. They went to current time. they could have easily done a sequel, a direct sequel that was only 5 or 10 years after the original,
Yep.
which would have given them more space to work with.
Exactly.
More films.
Exactly.
In the next one, he's obviously still in his 70s. So what is it going to be? The next generation? He fathers a child, or he, takes someone under his wing, or whatever.
Wheelchair. Come here, goddammit! Come here! Slow down!
So
you're running too fast.
That's also a decision that shows that they didn't really, think about it too deeply.
Right.
They just ran with it. Because why? Because millennials, because Y generation, because we can tick all of these boxes by having, a black and Asian, a blah, blah, blah character, a gay, a lesbian, a blah. It's like, come on. All of these things are fine to include in a film if the script justifies it, if the characters are well written, if it's interesting. I don't have a problem with any of this stuff, with what, especially like strong female characters. I like strong female characters,
Yeah,
Ripley,
I'm okay with that. I'm
Sarah
okay
Connor,
with that.
I love, and they could have done it here, you know.
Well, Sarah Connor minus Dark Fate. Dark Fate.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I would say
I say it because
but I mean, let me put it this way: Terminator 3 was better.
Ouch! Rise of the Machines.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes. Terminator Salvation was better.
Well, Terminator Salvation wasn't as bad as advertised. It just kind of went away from certain things that.
Well, and I think Christian Bale and his little outburst, which he got in a lot of trouble for, kind of put a damper on things, because that was at the beginning of social media, right around the beginnings of social media, and it got online, and a lot of people I know turned away from it just because of his little tirade that he went on, and so that that kind of thing turns people off from it too.
Overall, I didn't love it as part of the Terminator franchise, but as a film, a standalone film, it's actually not so bad. But Rise of the Machines, the third one, that was terrible. Especially coming after the first two, which were fantastic films. And that's the thing, today it's like the retro. They try to revive everything because they think that we're out of good ideas, which I don't necessarily agree with, but a lot of them, it's just like it's a little bit late in the game to try to ride, certain actors from originals, certain characters from the originals. They need to change things up and make it interesting, or just don't do it at all. I would prefer if they didn't do it at all. Just make something else.
I'm with you there. So it's kind of, are we gonna, if you can't justify the point of doing it outside of just being retro, then I just do something new. That's why, even if you don't like it, like Terrifier, those guys did that movie. I think they raised like $30,000 or $50,000 and made a pretty gnarly ass movie, but gave us a brand new character. He's right up there with Jason and Freddy. So we had this new killer, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't love the movie, but at the same time, it was something. They gave us a new character. They gave us a new horror icon in a sense. Regardless what you thought of the movie, it was something original. It wasn't a rehash or these fucking fan films that people waste their time and money on. And that's a whole new conversation for a whole new day.
Art the Clown, right?
Art the Clown. Yep.
Yeah. And no, he's a great character. Also handled kind of differently, which I liked in watching that film. I didn't like where they went in the end with it. Again, the whole thing about him using a gun, the whole thing about
the gun thing is kind of where you lost me.
And then all of a sudden sort of going kind of supernatural. I didn't like that. But overall, I thought it was okay, especially for an indie, made for very little. Well, we know that Terrifier 2 should be sort of coming out soon. They raised a hell of a lot of more money for that one.
Yeah, I mean, in the first less than the first 3 or 4 days, they had something like $1.5 million raised.
I'm not sure what the amounts were, but they definitely raised more, and they had studio money also to make it. I think they were raising the money just to shoot an additional scene that they wanted, but they were not going to get the funding for.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know. I didn't read that. All I remember was following the Terrifier 2 page. It was like they opened their I don't know, it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter, and they wound up.
But that's the thing about this one, because it was made for however much, I would assume it would be somewhere around. No, I'm talking about Terrifier 2.
Oh, Terrifier 2. Okay.
Probably a couple of million. And I will be holding it up to higher standards. And if it doesn't hold up to that, then
you fall in line with Halloween and Freddy and everything
else. If Terrifier 2
else,
is not better than Terrifier, we have a problem.
Yep.
Because
we always know a lot of times with these horror movies, when they get a bigger budget, they always seem to shit the bed. But I don't want to guess before seeing it. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to seeing it because, as you say, full respect, for the guys who made it. They made something that's a little bit different, a little bit interesting, and they hit gold with it. They, such a big hit. I'm not a fan of certain things about the movie, but overall, I did enjoy it. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this second one. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm more of a, I like a slow burn, deep thinking horror film. Give me something to sink my teeth into, and not to sit back and relax for. I'm I don't want it just to entertain me when I switch my brain off. I like it when it turns my brain on even more than it's already turned on when I watch it.
Right. And see, sometimes I'm okay. I'm okay with mindless. Sometimes I'm okay with mindless, but
absolutely.
Texas Chainsaw 2022 was not even mindless, even though some people.
I just mean that's my preference. My preference is for something deeper, but I also, I don't mind sort of horror entertainment as long, again, as it's good, as things make sense, as there are, I wouldn't say no plot holes, let's just say less plot holes.
Less plot holes.
And interesting characters and all the rest of it. I need that. I need a good script. I need something that works. And if I feel that as a film it's not good, then
well,
I will.
What? You what?
I will never forgive all these things like, say, other horror fans do.
Right. Well, I think we've kind of summed everything up in this episode. Beat the shit out of it. Yes, we did. So I'd like to thank everybody for checking us out. This is our first episode, and we've got plenty more where this came from. So I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on any social media platforms, make sure you give us a thumbs up or a like or whatever it is, depending on what platform that you're listening on. And then also make sure that if you want to give us some ideas about other stuff, the email address is right below. So go ahead and send us an email, and we will respond and let you know that if we're going to use your suggestions or not. And then also we like to real quick, I want to say my son, I was wearing all this stuff with his stuff. Jaden Braley, he sent me, this is my t-shirt for his company, Gray's Multimedia, which is in California. And then we're really big fans of the movie Empire Records. And so he made all these buttons because he has this business that he sells like buttons and stuff. So these are all kind of remakes of the different buttons that they had in the movie.
Very cool.
So he sent me those. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out, which I think we talked about. We might have him on the show here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll start having some guests, join us, and yeah, you can contact us, as Todd said, through the email. You can hit us up in comments below wherever this video is. Share it,
and be
just
nice.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Be good human beings. Don't.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying. Even though this first one is a bit of a negative, since we both didn't like this film much. We try to keep things positive, and we're more about indie than this kind of thing. A $20 million film is not considered indie by us.
$20 million.
So we will hold the higher budget films accountable. I mean, it's still not $100 million or whatever, like some films,
right?
But
John Carter.
I'm sorry,
was that my out loud voice?
Yeah, that's a sore spot for a lot of people, that one. But yeah, hit us up with suggestions. We're looking at doing maybe reaction videos, analysis videos, reviews, that kind of thing for film, for music. We might look at some music albums, some music videos, just a one song or sort of rating an album, from our favorite song to least favorite to favorite, whatever, that kind of thing. Hit us up, give us suggestions, and we'll see what we can do.
And I just thought of something that might be kind of cool. Indie filmmakers, if you've got screeners that you want to send us, and maybe we can do a review on your movie, sometime down the line. I'm thinking that I'd be okay with getting some screeners to watch other indie projects. So yeah,
we're open.
I'm going to throw that in.
We're open to doing those. We will be more forgiving, forgiving with indie.
More forgiving.
But knowing you, Todd, we still might trash the crap out of some of them.
I'm not. Yeah.
So be ready.
I mean, yeah. Just don't send us Texas Chainsaw 2022. $20 million on that note.
And if you do send us indies, make sure you let us know what the budget was. Give us some background about the production itself, and make sure you have a thick skin and you can handle negative.
Well, feedback, not necessarily if negative feedback. Just give us, be open. That was something I'm gonna say. So I watched. Yeah, well, Clapboard Jungle I watched last night, and it had this filmmaker. His name was Justin. Oh, of course, now his last name leaves my brain.
Well. Yep. We literally just talked about it.
Yeah,
we're old. We forget things.
Yes, we are. So anyway, he was not really good at taking criticism at first. And somebody told him, look, dude, you need to man up and take the criticism, because, just because you think you have this amazing and brilliant idea doesn't mean everybody else is going to love it. It's like, oh, I want to make this movie. Oh, I want to make this movie. Oh, I want to be avant-garde. Oh, I want to do something like Andy Warhol. What you got to look at is, am I making something that the audience is going to want to watch? And if you can't take the criticism, and this is what one of the producer guys said, if you can't take criticism, you probably shouldn't do this. You shouldn't make movies if you can't handle the criticism. Because this Justin dude in this Clapboard Jungle, man, at the beginning of the movie had a really hard time. And I actually found out that I owned one of his movies. It was The Collapsed. I bought it in the store, and it's not horrible. It's a pretty good movie. It's a good kind of a little on the edge of post-apocalyptic. I'm gonna have to watch it again, but it wasn't a horrible movie. So, but he was really bad at first at taking criticism. So, and I'd like to shout out Chris Gore from Film Threat for throwing that out there. I watched an episode of Film Courage, and he threw that movie out there on one of the videos from Film Courage. So, shout out to Chris Gore for recommending that. It was an awesome documentary. So, okay,
and that's just the thing with, like you said, like with audience is a wide range of people. Whoopsie. You're going to get some background noise. You're going to get some people who will like it, some people who won't like it. You have to kind of expect that. Even you and I, Todd, we make films, we've had them reviewed. We received positive and negative reviews, and we've thanked everybody who reviewed it.
And if you learn something from the criticism for your next project, that's the whole point.
Even if you haven't, though, it's like somebody put in the time to watch your work,
right?
That's something, and they took the time then to respond, to give you some feedback. If they didn't like it, they didn't like it. Shit happens. And
again, films are subjective.
And if I get only positive feedback about my films, I get worried, because I think somebody's just sucking up here, because
right.
It's impossible that everyone will like it. You look at masterpieces of cinema, the best films of all time. Not everybody likes them. Blade Runner is one of my favorite films.
And not everybody liked them when they came out. Blade Runner was considered a flop, So yeah,
and it's
now it's one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made. But nobody went and saw it.
Was, but yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, even
I know.
in the behind the scenes stuff on the Blu-ray, Ridley Scott was just like, I was devastated because nobody came to see my movie that I spent 2.5 years putting together, he's, and then studio interference and blah, blah. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother episode.
So with indie, even if we don't love it, we'll try to be kind. Let us know. Send your stuff in. We'll see what we think. If you want to hear our opinion of it, regardless of you don't just want to be told that what you've done is good. You want to actually hear some honesty. We'll give it to you.
Yep, absolutely. Straight shooters, really baby.
That's what we're about. So,
and also make sure that you check out myindie.com. Or I'm sorry, myindieproductions.com. Oh, that's my bad. Sorry. And that's right there on the bottom of the screen too. And look us up on Facebook, send us friend requests, like our pages. We've got lots of stuff going on social media. I'll put all of our Instagram and Facebook and I don't know.
Yeah, let me just say about myindieproductions.com, kind of a plug. It's a website for my production company, but it's also a independent artist community where we promote indie artists. So if you click on the artists tab, it'll take you to a page where all the artists that we promote exist in. Everybody has their own sort of artist page, so you can look up Todd's page and you can look up my page and you can see what we've done in the past. If you want to know more about who we are, where we come from, our bios and everything is all in there. And check out other artists and always support indie film.
A lot of great indie movies on there, man. So thanks again, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time right here on Straight Shooters. Thanks again for watching.